first, can you please tell us more about these instruments that you're playing, the sitar?
So this is a sitar. It's hanging out over there, and hopefully I'll bring it over a little bit later. It's a Persian instrument to begin with, and it came down into North India. Some people would say it's got a bit of a design thing related to a very ancient instrument called the veena, which is found in South India. But it also has this sort of resemblance to the guitar or oud or something called the saz, which is in Turkey as well. So it's a bit of a mixture, and it's got these drone strings on the top, which is like a banjo. So there you go. Thank you very much. So yeah, that's the sitar.
And so tell us more about what is that you actually do, what is unique about it, how does it look like?
So I put up here, I'm a multidisciplinary storyteller, essentially, in the sense that the doctor's there because I just finished a PhD in the neuroscience of musical creativity. And I also did it in the, so there's elements of neuroscience, psychology, musicology, behavioral science, and also I did it in the physics department randomly because I was looking at it from a systems point of view. Kind of similar to what you were talking about. I started life as a molecular biologist and I got very tired of looking at a little subsystem of a tiny molecular subsystem, and I thought, I want to see the bigger picture, and neuroscience seems to be the way to do it. And in fact, complexity seems to be an even better way of doing it, which is the science of systems. So it's everything from a hive mind to your traffic jam to like a flock of birds. These are sort of like physics-based, statistical mechanical ways of doing, looking at how whole things work together. So it's something that's more than the sum of its parts. So I guess a lot of you might have heard of things like network theory. Yeah, literally dots connecting to dots, connecting to dots. This is what influences this, influences that, that sort of thing. So that's what the doctor part's all about. And then the other parts, well, I'm a composer. I have my own band, which is all the way up there. That was us playing at the London Jazz Festival, just gone past. And it's a whole mixture of stuff. It's multidisciplinary again because I was born in the United Arab Emirates. My parents are from Bangladesh, and then I came over here when I was 15, and I have an Americanized accent. So I basically pick up stuff from everywhere I've ever lived, and people I've loved, and wonderful people I've actually happened to bump into. So I take a bit of everything. And what you heard a little bit earlier was sort of my first foray is much more into spoken word. But I tend to use the sitar, and I use piano as a compositional tool. I also do my own solo stuff, which is kind of there, and ukulele and various things like that. I also, I'm a vocalist. I'm a collaborator with lots of different people. I've done things at the Love Supreme Jazz Festival where there's this big band, just a little bit like Sun Ra, so I got the opportunity to try out all the wacky, crazy voices in my head, which is quite fun in terms of different characters, essentially. And there's a little electric sitar there. And then I'm an actor. So I'm an actor. Yes, anyway. Halfway through my PhD, I got this incredible once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to go and be the lead of a 24-part BBC drama series. And acting was something I kind of always sort of done at school, but I never really thought, like, okay, it could be something I do. And then it became something I do. And then it was a perfect thing because I was sort of, you know, when you concentrate a lot on science, well, on two things, and I was being pulled apart almost with the science and the music, and acting came at the perfect opportune moment. I got the idea of, well, something links us all together in terms of creativity, and there's a mad scientist there in some ways, and that's the thing that sort of drives me, is creativity and what the commonality is amongst all of these different disciplines and all of these different worlds. This is something that I ended up doing. I don't know whether you came to these shows, but we're coming up to one now. I came up, I suppose, like after being a scientist, after being a performer. I've also put on events for the last 10 years. One of my friends went, well, why don't you join the dots and bring it all together and create a practice out of it? So for the last 3 years or 4 years, since 2011, created something called jugular, joining the head and the heart. And it kind of comes from the emphasis in that consciousness is not just up here, as lots of people have said today. It's about the heart as well, but it's also this embodied consciousness. So the way that I work is I invite philosophers and scientists and performing artists to complement and challenge each other on a particular topic that's interesting to everyday life. So the next one we're going to do is called Rhythms of the Heart. And we're literally going to get people talking about so the sub-themes of why we think the heart is the seat of our emotion. Is there an actual link to the brain, which there is. There is an amazing neuroscientist who's going to come and talk about the sixth sense that we all have called interoception, which is the ability for all of us to detect our own physiological processes inside, such as your own heartbeat without taking your pulse. So this is an actual trait that most of us have on a sliding scale. And the more of it that you have, the higher the emotional awareness you have or intelligence. And this is something we want to be exploring. This is something very relevant to performers as well. So we're going to have a whole bunch of people from contortionists and jugglers to musicians, singer-songwriters, theater people, and then a philosopher from the Center of Senses who literally works on embodied cognition, embodied consciousness. And her main thing is that we are all people that actually develop very early on in terms of, as you were saying earlier, about it's about the rhythms that we have with our carer that actually develops our then subsequent ability to be able to be emotional with ourselves. That's a self-related emotion, and also emotions related to others, other relations. So this is this interpersonal connectivity. So she's going to be exploring things like that, and it's everything from rhythms of somebody cooing to you in terms of the sound, the breathing, the heart rate. So exploring all things heart and rhythm. That's the next thing.
More personal question. What, in your journey, what was the most challenging thing or a personal, professional failure you felt you really took something substantial from, you learned a lot from?
I think a lot of people, and myself included, there's a lot of like, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. And there was definitely this idea of, well, I'm interested in all three of these things. Can I dare to just, not care about labels and just go ahead and forge my own path and do whatever seems natural at this point, and so on and so forth. And that's something that's sort of coming together now. And I realized that I'm a storyteller using lots of different media. So for me, I guess it's challenging my own perceptions of being able to do all these things in a way that's easily understandable to people around me and to myself. The other thing is sustaining something like this, which, as you all know, there's not necessarily an institution or a governmental thing that allows you to go ahead and ask for a job in something like this. So it's about, creating this for yourself. And for me, one of the things is doing workshops, and I sort of branched out looking at creativity, the science of creativity, and how this can be accessed by everybody, not just artists. And then also teaching science to children through embodied learning, so getting up and working through theater techniques. So for me, my vision is like, how do I sustain this dialogue between science, performance, philosophy, and entertainment? So that's your personal vision. My personal vision, yeah.
What would you like to ask the audience? What is the question you'd like to leave the audience with?
I would like to ask you, what worlds do you connect and how? And see if you can find your own niche there.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Shama Rahman, thank you.
Thank you.